several of you guys suggested that I check out Steve Stevens, the Bookie Killer. What I found was outrageous and hilarious.
Back with sports betting 101. There's a lot of new amateur sports bettors out there.
Ready to get scammed by people posing with flashy cars, attractive women, and stacks of fake cash. So in an attempt to help you think like a professional sports bettor, I'm going to react to Steve Stevens' YouTube channel. Spoiler alert, you don't need to wear sunglasses inside, smoke unlit cigars, or waste money on depreciation assets in order to do it. Now this Now this is going to be entertaining, so let's get started with who he says he is.
The Bookie Killer. Remember, a lot of people do this for a hobby. This is how I put my kids through college. I've made tens of millions of dollars betting sports. There's...
Hang on. Right, from the outset, why is this guy wearing these sunglasses? Does it protect his eyes from this garish orange top? It's ridiculous. Also, tens of millions of dollars through betting sports. There's probably a handful of people in the world that have done that through consistently applying an edge to sports betting. It's an outrageous claim, and I don't think this guy has done this.
From a guy that's fourth generation, born and raised in Las Vegas, that actually bets six figures on the fucking game. Versus these little guys on Instagram giving tutorials and telling you how to bet. The guy doesn't even live in Vegas. Men lie, women lie, numbers and results don't.
Right, now, results don't lie, can't argue with that. But Jesus Christ, what's going on here? Is this guy just jealous of people that seemingly know what they're actually doing or have given him grief in the past? I really don't know. But where you live has absolutely nothing to do with how intelligent you are or your chance of actually beating the sportsbook odds.
That's why I've been in the same location 16 years, documented on CNBC as the best in the world.
This is just pure car crash TV from the start. So because he's lived somewhere 16 years, it suddenly means that he's got a better chance of betting. I really don't think so. Let's go a little bit further because this just gets better in terms of showing himself up.
So take it from me, a guy that's betting 20, 50, even $100,000 a game. Well, you can't compare me to the average sports bettor because I have millions of dollars. The most important thing that has made me successful is my money management and discipline program.
And we'll take a look at that in just a moment because that's clearly what this is about with some of his money management and his discipline program and all these other bits and bobs, which we'll take a look at in a second. No issues with that, but I think this guy is just talking absolute BS, which we'll come on to in just a second with some of the things he says. But already, having looked at the videos on his channel, I find it hard to stomach that this guy is a successful sports bettor, given the fact that he's advertising two different sports books. You've got BetUS and you've got My Bookie, both promoted on his channel. Sports books don't take bets from winners consistently, and if they do, they will ban them in a very short space of time or limit their stakes to stop them from successfully betting into the future. They certainly wouldn't do a deal with them where they can then advertise people come to their sportsbook to take money off of them. So let's take a look at old Scammy Steve's website and see what he's offering here. So first of all, he's not the bookie, he's the Bookie Killer. And of course, he's got the girls on the homepage, he's got the swimming pools, he's got the money, the winning ticket, the wads of cash, whether it's real or not, I don't really know. And he just needs your phone number. Yeah, of course. I mean, look, market your product, that's fair enough. VIP Sports, he mentions the fact that he's been CNBC relentlessly, as does he relentlessly say about the huge wads of cash that he's won and how much he bets and all this kind of stuff on the channel, which is a great way of endorsing your product. But as some of you guys told me in the comments on the previous video, in the States, and I wasn't aware of this previously, you can pretty much buy your way onto some of these platforms to have a feature. As you go down the page, it's crystal clear where we're going here. Like personalised services and selections. Look at the price of some of these packages that he's advertising on his website. Just 25 grand for 4 weeks of Steve's personal place. And of course, he's holding money up in every single picture to prove that you should be purchasing this. Look, I'm not even going to look at this anymore. This guy is not legitimate. He doesn't know what he's talking about, as I'll prove in a second with some of the other things he's said. So let's get back to the funny stuff where he shows himself up, because he calls out Dangerous Dave, the guy that was mentioned in the previous upload.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's the one and only Darren Otero.
Let's hold it there before we go anywhere. This guy's toking on a unlit cigar inside his studio, wearing sunglasses, totally normal behaviour, particularly if you're a shrewdie, wearing a boss top.
AKA Steve Stevens, the Bookie Killer, the best sports consultant money can buy.
Really? This is just unbearably hilarious. because it's where we also start to notice the contradictions. Let's see what I mean here.
He's a marketing genius. The guy does have a talent, and it's marketing. He knows how to pay for girls that act like he's his girlfriend. I'm the one that tells you who to bet. I'm not a bookie. I'm the bookie killer.
So that was found in a separate clip where he has his Money Talks weekend, or Millionaire Weekend, whatever it's called. He's basically calling this guy out, Dave, for doing something that he also does.
He goes to events.
Which Steve also does.
I have access to spots here in Las Vegas that nobody can get access to, no matter who you know or how much money you have.
So that's 2 contradictions. Let's have a look at one more.
He's fucking 50 years old, hanging out at strip clubs and nightclubs.
Sound like you're describing yourself there, mate.
Racing cars, or hanging out with the most beautiful women in the world, and at the same time make more money betting sports than you could possibly ever imagine.
Got to give it to him. He seems to know what he's doing with his sales pitch. But then this thing just gets taken to a whole new level. Check this out.
Sports betting has came to a level nobody ever thought was possible.
My name is Crypto Face. The challenge of knowing something before it happens and knowing something nobody else does. That's what drove my passion for sports betting in general.
Sounds like all the people with crypto, they know what's happening in the future and they know what's going to happen before it happens. Except they didn't know the arsehole was going to fall out of its price recently.
Steve has helped me a lot, not just off of having consistent wins with his picks, but there's bets I didn't even know existed. The hardest part is getting your money out of the bank.
Which tends to be the downside to money laundering. And it's not to say that people can't make money from buying and selling crypto, and many have. But the point is, it's totally speculative, it's a punt, it's a gamble. Which leads us nicely onto the main point here, where Steve makes an utter fool of himself, showing that he hasn't got a clue what he's talking about.
Betting the same amount of money on every single game. You don't change your unit size. You have to stick to the same amount of money on every single game.
And Scammy Steve routinely claims this throughout the whole channel, that the main key to his success is discipline and the fact that you stake the same amount on every single bet. So take a look at this from the $1 Million Weekend, also on his channel. First of all, you might notice that there's 2 different bets there with 2 different stakes. $200,000 on Ohio State and $120,000 on Arkansas State.
It looks like Arkansas State is not going to get the job done, and all I'm doing is stressing, wondering if this game is going to get the job done for us.
I'll feel stressed watching it. And obviously, Arkansas then goes on to lose, so he's lost his rolling client $120,000 in this instance. Now remember, the key point from Steve is,
you need to be betting 20% of your bankroll and do not alter higher or lower. Stick to it and stick true to the game.
So naturally, what does he do the next day? Doubles up. Now, the bet then goes on to win, and so he's all happy jumping around, and it's a great success for his client. But the main point that you want to take away here, if you're thinking about sports betting, is this is not how professional sports bettors think. You don't bet in line with how many bets you have in or how big your bank is. I mean, you have to factor in how big your bank is, that is important. But the point is, you bet larger when you have a larger advantage. You need a definitive edge that you can identify in the marketplace to quantify how valuable the given situation is to you. You need to bet larger when there's a larger advantage, smaller when there's a small advantage, and when there's no advantage, you don't bet at all. And to be honest with you, professional sports betting, yes, it can be lucrative. Yes, you can make millions, maybe not tens of millions or hundreds of millions as Steve might claim all over his channel, but it is a grind. It will take time, a lot of persistence, and also after a while you'll find that your biggest problem is getting banned and restricted from sports books and betting companies. If you haven't seen this video here in the end screen, check it out, it will show you why.
Tell him the name of the man what sealed his fate.
Crypto Face.